None other than Comps and Wally for Apex and Deja Vu.
That's exactly right. Thank you, Dustin. And let's start out with you, Wally. We heard James mention that you kind of all you wanted to do is not get relegated. So are you really at a point in the season now where you have nothing to lose?
The way I see it, Apex, everyone says the best team in North America. So, I mean, like if we go out there the way we, play the first round robin, we got nothing to lose. I think we can take them.
And Comps, I know that you said to me last night that you run this team like a business. So you're probably prepared for every scenario. What is the one thing that just cannot happen today?
Lose.
But what is the one thing that cannot happen so that you lose?
I mean, lose composure. I mean, these guys are ready. We've been practicing for this, so it's just time to show off what we've been working for.
We also heard Meadowhawk mention that the most important thing here is that you quickly put like a kink in the armor. How quickly is it to get that first win for you?
It's really important. If you start out with a fast win, I mean, everyone's emotions are going. Everyone has the momentum they need, and I mean, you could carry that all the way to a 7-0 if you're good enough.
And we talked a little bit about that at live finals, you kind of have a history that's not so good. Have you done anything new to prepare for a live final?
Yeah, well, I mean, we changed our roster, so we basically put in players that are more comfortable in live environments, so that we don't go through those situations again.
Okay, and normally we have a final word for your opponent. Let's start with you, Wally Whiff.
I just got to say, good luck, have fun.
I guess you're going to say the same thing, right?
Good luck and have fun.
Okay, let's shake hands, guys. It's always good luck, have fun, especially with this guy. And let's get back to the casters and let's get this game going.
Alrighty, so we are about to get into it, and then just let's talk about the maps, because actually before we talk about the maps, let's talk about the last time these guys really played a good set. Not the second time in the second round robin, but it was 4-5 overtime victory in favor of Apex, and that was the first time we really saw, I mean, you could argue or even say Apex bleed, and it was Deja Vu just giving them everything that they had.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, it was just them throwing the kitchen sink at them, but it wasn't their main kitchen sink in a way. It was the one off in the side somewhere.
Room,
yeah, it was just all those odd strats, and they just kept throwing them out.
Not a lot of houses have 2 kitchen sinks, so that's...
Okay, bathroom sink. It was just all the random
like,
stuff.
wait a second.
And it kind of worked to an extent, but the problem is that after a little while, Apex just said, all right, well, they're not going to do anything normal, so let's just...
And then the second time they played, Apex cleaned them up.
Oh, yeah, no, at that point, nothing like that worked. And that's kind of what made Deja Vu realize, all right, what we need to do is just go back to our basics, do what we were doing early. And that's where we saw them late in the second round robin really start to play well. And looking at the maps...
We're going to start on mines yet again in the second semifinal here.
Yeah, and looking at it, Himmelsdorf is the one that sticks out to me here, the third map played. That's one of Apex's best maps. They're 17-5 on that map on the season. Well, Deja Vu were 9-9, so they're not terrible, but 17-5. That's
a
pretty
commanding,
impressive.
Yeah, it's a commanding statistic.
And that includes a 10-1 defense. So overall, they're very, very consistent on it. But then they're also 12-5 on Proc, which a map that we typically say is one of Apex or Eclipse's maps. It is a map that Apex have shown that they're competent on, and it was actually Apex that beat Eclipse in overtime on Proc the first time they played. And then looking at it, we're going to finish off with Ruinberg if we get that far, and then on to Cliff, which is actually a map that Apex haven't really played that much. They've only played it 10 times on the season, 7-3, which isn't awful.
And the only time they'll actually see it today is going to be in a tiebreaker. Yeah, that's the only if it makes it to that point.
Yeah, and looking at it, it's a map that Deja Vu have only played 3 times the whole season, so it's kind of like Ghost Town for
07.
For 07.
Yeah.
Now, at one point, I remember they hadn't played it at all, and they got forced to play it in overtime, and I believe Deja Vu ended up winning that one, and then they randomly put it into the map selection during another match later on once they'd already been forced to play it just to try some things out. Didn't really work out for them. That's where they got the 2 losses from. So we'll have to see what they can do versus Apex, because that could be the decider later on. If this goes 6-6, it's going to go to Cliff. And if you haven't played it a whole lot, it's going to be Apex that's going to feel a lot more confident in that.
All right, well, I mean, it would almost at this point, we're about 2 minutes out to get started here into the very first map between Deja Vu and Apex. I would normally ask you predictions, but I think the analysts, as well as everyone else, has said it enough. This is obviously going to be heavily favored for Apex to win, but I really do think that if Deja Vu, they're actually incredibly strong with just fundamental tanks play. The problem is that's one of their best strengths, and that's also one of Apex's best strengths.
Yep. Now, another thing to look at here is let's say Deja Vu can pick up the win here, and it's Deja Vu versus Eclipse in the finals. That's pretty much a matchup. We've compared those two teams the whole season. We've
compared them a lot. We've called Deja Vu the mini Eclipse.
Yeah, and you have to look at their records over the last couple seasons. Eclipse come up from the Silver League and played all right during the season. They have some really good games. They kind of drop off a little bit towards playoffs.
It's literally the same scenario. It's crazy.
It's the same thing with Deja Vu. They come into playoffs, and it's kind of fitting of the name, Deja Vu, if you think about it to a certain extent. They come up from Silver.
They did that on purpose.
They play pretty well, then they kind of drop off, and then they go in to the playoffs as the underdog, as the 4th seed, exactly like Eclipse did last year. And then Eclipse came in and upset everyone because everyone just underestimated them. They weren't ready for them, and Eclipse showed up to play.
Yeah.
If Deja Vu did the same thing right now, and we have that matchup in the final.
It's possible. It is absolutely possible. But again, the way that Comps has really been kind of posturing his team, and just the way they've been playing, it's going to be just so difficult.
Yeah, and the other thing to think about, though, say that does happen. Once again, just something I want to point out is, like we said earlier, only one team has ever won back-to-back titles. That was Fulcrum 4 years ago. No one has been able to do it since. No one. Not in North America, anyways. And so looking at it, right now, Eclipse, they still, you know,
they could
especially
be
if they
the
go up
first
versus Apex.
Yeah.
Well, it could be the second. I mean, it's
or
been a long
excuse me, the
time.
second. Yeah, Fulcrum.
Yeah.
Please.
But if Deja Vu get in there, you have to wonder, is that sophomore jinx gonna seep in? Is Eclipse gonna stumble in the finals, and all of a sudden it's gonna be another team where their first season in the Gold League they pick up the win? That would be pretty crazy if we get that far. Now they still
aggressor.
That said, they have to beat Apex right now before we can even speculate about any of that, which that is no small task in itself. I think the biggest thing for Deja Vu right now is they need to just play their standard game, and they need to make Apex respect them in terms of, all right, we can just play we can both play our regular games, and we can take points off you. And then that's where they can go to those meme stress, as they call them, and really start breaking out the oddball stuff in there once that they've made Apex respect their normal play. Say they can go, 2-2 just by running standard strats, get some points off of Apex, and make them go, all right, well, these guys are good enough to just take us head on normal strats, not doing anything crazy, but they have the individual talent to make it work. If you could do that, kind of put yourself in a good position, then you have a couple rounds to work with where you can start throwing out those Hail Marys, try those gimmick strats, and maybe catch Apex off guard.
And again, it's kind of alluding to that. Although Deja Vu is very new to this experience, I mean, this is their first time here as a team, there's also kind of been some cracks in Apex, or formerly known as the Cunninghams as well as Noble, of not doing so well on the land, even though they have the wealth of experience. So that could also be a factor coming into the semifinals as well.
Yeah, and they've, like we were talking about earlier, in years past, they've made it to the finals. They were expected to do well, but they always just kind of came up short, whether it was to Simp or Fulcrum or Hammer Time. They just kind of kept stumbling, and then finally they got their win under Noble against High Voltage in the finals. I believe it was 3 seasons ago. And then the next season was when they could have gone back and had their first back-to-back, but that was against Eclipse. And obviously Eclipse, everyone kind of wrote them off during that final, and they showed up to play, and Apex, at that point, Noble dropped the points.
It's an anything can happen situation right now. Obviously, you have the favorites, and the crowd knows who the stronger team is. Speaking, just gonna
statistically.
Thank you very much. It's I'm just excited to get in the tanks. But right, we know who the stronger team technically is, but there's so much that can happen with Deja Vu.
Yep, definitely. So I just got word that we are waiting for one of the players to switch out their headsets, get that working. As soon as we have that up and running, I believe we're ready to get underway. And going over the maps again real quick, just kind of the order. We have Mines, Murrow, and Himmels up first, which Mines is a map, like we said, Apex haven't actually played a whole lot, but when they have played it, they've showed a lot of very promising strats. And early on, especially the defense they were running, where they had the tanks on the backside of that boost, and they set that perfect little trap where it's either, all right, well, you sit a bunch of guns ready for these batch hats to come over in the south, or you have guns ready for the heavies, and they would always have that, perfect overmatch. And the second they found one tank off on the side where he wasn't out of the fight, even if it was just a 6v7 overmatch, they would just take it. And because they're competent enough and they work well enough together, it would normally work out in their favor. And so if they can do that same sort of style right now versus Deja Vu, it's going to be very hard for Deja Vu because one tank out of position, one tank rotates too soon or gets spotted, it's all over.
Apex will punish you absolutely at every turn.
Yep. Now, that said, because it's a map that Apex have not played a whole lot, I feel that that's a good opportunity for Deja Vu to get a point, at least while they're defending, or even maybe on the attack, depending on the Zero Lines boost. Looking at Apex, they've been decent with the boosts, or the climbs for that matter, Dodoma especially.
Dodoma's nuts.
And external as well.
At solo climbing and climbing.
Yeah, and
that's his external, yeah.
Yep, and then we have the Mountain Goat himself in Canadian Impact. So he's been all over there, all over most of the climbs this season. So between him and Dodo, they've been pretty crazy as far as getting those done. So especially on maps like Cliff, if we get that far, or just Mines right now, we'll have to see what they can do.
Yeah, so we are actually going to have a little bit of a technical issue. We could throw to a quick break, but when we return, we will get on with the semifinals of Apex and Deja Vu. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the WGLNA World of Tanks Gold League Season 1, 2016-2017 Regional Finals.
Yep, so it looks like instead of just switching out the headphones, they went ahead and switched out the whole computer, so that's what's taking the extra few delays. So getting things set up, it looks like they are almost done now. Hopefully we'll bring you updates as soon as we know. We're eager and ready to get underway and get this fight going, but technical issues happen.
Yep, and it is going to be, again, Apex versus Deja Vu.
Yep, and I was actually, during the break, I went over and was talking to Meathead a little bit.
Okay.
So he feels this is Apex's match to lose.
I mean,
the way he put it.
It's really tough to not feel that way, specifically because of the way the season has played out so far and how dominant Apex has really been over the rest of the teams.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at this lineup, you know, Kula V, Nit, Toma, Germ, Canadian Impact, Overload Prime, External, they're all players that have been around. And you can't even leave out Photo Finish. You know, there's so many players that have been around in this league for a long time. Now, not necessarily on Apex or Noble, but on a lot of different teams. Simp, Hammer Time, it goes on and on and on. And Dodoma's been around for a very long time. Played on the old Phonetic team for a while, played on River of Blood, played on the Cunninghams, and they were still the Cunninghams, and has been around here for the last couple seasons. But then we look over at Deja Vu. Like I said, it's a team up from Silver last season. Change, Chase Potato, Wally with. But then they bring in players like MacTap, Putin, My Little Putin, Aggressor that have done really well for him. And then you have players like Nationwide, Harmless, and Durzel who have been with the team for a while and have really done well. They do their basics very well, especially for a team new to the Gold League, and that's what's carried them this far. Is they have a good foundation.
At the same time, though, that's their biggest problem going into this matchup with Apex is Apex does what they do really well better.
Yeah, well, exactly. And throughout the season, even later in the season for Apex, they kept running the same strats that people had already seen, and they just said, "Come beat it, come."
Yeah.
You know, we know that you know what we're doing.
Come at me, bro.
But you know, just find a way to break it.
Yeah.
And they just, you know, ran over everyone in their path, regardless of whether or not they knew it was coming. Just because you know exactly what your opponent's going to do doesn't mean you can stop it.
Right, exactly. So it is going to be interesting, these two dynamics of the teams. But again, we also know that Deja Vu is kind of the meme team, if you will. Like they are willing to do those kind of oddball or off the cuff strats that have worked before in the past. So it's not impossible to see that from them. I think Chase does a really good job of helping out with the calls as well. I don't know what's going to happen. You would expect Apex to win, but honestly, it's up for grabs for Deja Vu as well.
Yeah, now one thing that's always stuck out in my mind when you're talking about meme strats, that Himmelsdorf round, Deja Vu versus Apex, there was just so much going on in that game that you're just sitting there just kind of scratching your head like, is this really going to work right now? And it almost
did. Those 250Bs were unspotted as they were heading down. I think it was the 5-line.
Yeah, they were in that little 5-line
It was
cubby.
nuts.
And it was just that they took that 1 extra second to check and make sure they didn't push into a trap. And unfortunately, the 50Bs missed their track shots, and then they got isolated, and it all fell apart from there. But they were moments away from that strat working, and that would have been the highlight of the season if that strat had worked.
But alas, it did not work.
Yeah, definitely. So that ended up dropping points, and then they lost another round in overtime, and Apex walked away with the win. And you got to remember, Apex don't have a loss in regulation this season.
No,
they have 1 loss in overtime.
To Eclipse. Now, they've been put in overtime situations before multiple times with Eclipse as well, with Eclipse twice, also with Deja Vu.
Yeah, and then they've managed to come back and win it. So you have to think that they are on the way to doing things, keep going on that path right now. You have to think Apex can pick this up right now and then go play Eclipse. And Eclipse, they're 1-1, both overtime win and losses. So it's going to be a close series either way. Yeah,
well, that's enough from us. Let's go ahead and check in with our analyst couch. It's going to be Tommy with none other than B-Ted and Meadowhawk.
And an extra guy who just joined here by T1 Diabetic. And, well, Master Pupil said all they were going to do is eat, but apparently you had time to talk to us, too. So we already heard Master Pupil's reaction from that semifinal, but what are your thoughts after that semifinal? Did everything go to plan?
Yeah, I mean, we were expected to win anyway. We had just confident about it. Instead, just like the little mix-ups, but I mean, first match, so just get over the hump.
Well, what was if you can tell us, any mistakes that you made in that semifinal that you kind of keep in the back of your head that can't happen in the final?
Murro, just communication, our attack, just wrong tanks, so just people were just not talking to each other and figuring out what we wanted to run.
communication has been key this season for your team. With Wally in and adding someone like Oxmassis, who's been outside the team, and bringing it together, how hard have you guys had to work to really get that communication on point?
Pretty well. I mean, we just added new talent. I mean, it kind of helped us start to become more individual for each other and start to make decisions and talk more. Because with Wally, he doesn't like to micro, and Tigers like to make like one call and like go. But we pretty much reacted pretty well to it. Like talking to each other and playing more relaxed.
And you were saying the wrong tanks. I'm very curious where you guys got this 50B strat. I mean, you brought 3 50Bs on mines, and then you brought four on mines, and then also 4 on
Five.
I think you brought 5, yeah.
5 on Murrow.
Yeah.
So where did the 50Bs come from? Like, were you scrimming with them, or was it just the kind of like a baby Halo play of bringing the E25, like just catch them off guard?
We ran it a couple times. Just with the 50Bs, just they have the faster clip than the bats and more HP, so it lets you be able to go in and brawl and get the damage out and get the first clips. So, Murrow was not supposed to be that many 50Bs, but we were just trying to pretty much same thing, just force an engagement, make them panic, and
They're the guys with the tactical questions. I'm the guy with the color questions because they know more about tactics. We heard Master Pupil say that he would like to play Deja Vu in the final. Is that how the whole team feels, or are there any that really want to play Apex to prove that you are the best team?
I mean, whoever wins this match deserves to be there. Everybody here deserved to be here. They got here in the first place. So, I mean, whoever we have to play, whoever we beat, and it's what it is.
Who do you think's going to win this next match?
Probably Apex. I mean, they're strong all season. But Deja Vu has a chance. I mean, everybody has a chance. So it depends on who plays well and who doesn't.
Who would you recommend that people watch when they're watching Deja Vu?
Probably Aggressor. Aggressor's fun to watch.
He's a bit of a madman, isn't he?
Yeah.
We have a lot of new viewers. We hope we haven't. We don't know how many viewers we have, but hopefully there's some new guys. And we really want to explain to them why this is such a good game. Could you first of all hold the mic a little closer to your face so they can actually hear what you say? But why do you love playing tanks?
I like playing tanks is just because I love history. I love just like armored warfare. I mean, World War II has probably been the most interested I've been in history. It's like I always in my classes and stuff at school. It's like I always want to just World War II, just spend time on World War II. Because I guess it's probably because of our generation, we're closer to that a bit.
Do you play any other games, or is World of Tanks all that you go into?
Competitively, World of Tanks, but I like to play CSGO and stuff like that, but just mostly with friends.
See, I was hoping you were going to say CSGO because this guy said something during rehearsal yesterday that kind of made me laugh. He said that this game is more difficult to play than CSGO. Is that true?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, they're both similar, but it's just I would probably say CSGO because if you're off with your aim at all, it hurts a bit. In this game, CSGO has no RNG. This game has RNG, so.
The comparison can be a bit chalk and cheese because you have armor in this game.
Yeah.
You have angles, the teams are different, and you don't need the same twitch reflexes as much as you do in CSGO. The faster your reflexes are, the better the player most of the time. So I would agree that it is field, CSGO, but tanks is its own animal.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's different games, so.
I can see that Metahawk is okay. You can come in with a quick point, but it's got to be quick.
Oh, I just wanted to say the Twitch reactions.
Okay.
Tanks doesn't have Twitch. You don't need that the youthful reaction time as you do in Tanks. And I'd be very curious to see a version of Tanks where one tank could 1v5.
Okay. Well, that was some great points and some great answers. Thank you very much, T1 Diabetic. Now we got all the technical issues out of the way, so let's go back to our casters. It's Dustin Kane and James Grieve.
Yep, it is finally time. Thank you so much to T1 Diabetic for joining, and really insightful guy. Like having him on the analyst couch.
Yeah, no, definitely. And now looking at it, we're moments away from being in our first battle. It's going to be on mines. And this is a map where either team on either side could really be aggressive early. So I'm kind of curious to see what we're going to see early on, if one of these teams is just going to go for a very, very aggressive push early on and just try to catch the opponent off guard.
Yeah, we'll have to see indeed. I cannot wait to get this started. We've had delays, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize, but we are just about ready to get into the game here between Apex and Deja Vu. 30 seconds out. So, Aggressor is the player to watch here for Deja Vu. From what we've been told, not only by T1 Diabetic, you've also been alluding to it, as was B-Ted earlier when I had a conversation with him.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, looking at this team, you got Chase Potato, Aggressor, and Milo Putin there in the front row. In the back row, you got Durgel and MacTap in the middle. And it looks like we are loading into the first battle right now.
Yep, let's get right into it. The first map between Deja Vu and Apex.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations, but the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village and the other one is in the water. One of the key objectives is the center hill. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets for cover.
And here we go, the start of the second semifinal here today at the Gold League Regional Finals. It's going to be Deja Vu bringing a 113, a 50B, 2 grills, and 2 bad shots, and a T49. Talk about interesting lineups.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go back to that in just a second. Apex coming in with an IS-7, 2 TVPs, 2 bat shots, and 2 Tier 9 bats. And they are very aggressively going towards the 4 line, not necessarily challenging for the hill. Oh, actually they are. They're going for the climb on the backside of the hill. A very difficult one to do. However, they seem to be getting it done. That's
Wow,
2 up.
that is... Oh, external! Okay, he gets there, he gets there.
He gets it. He's up on the hill now. Now they have hill control and they have control of the hill entrance. All their guns are together. And no random push out of Deja Vu. No, they're not going for that head-to-head. Chase Potato and the T49 is actually all the way over on the 9 line instead of trying to get some damage off towards the hill. Aggressor up on the side there trying to find some shots or blind fire towards the boost. Maybe catch someone out.
Tier line boost is actually something we haven't seen at all today so far, and we have gone through 2 separate sides of mines.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at the defense here, the grills at H4 and J7, and they're sitting there, and basically what they're hoping is that some sort of push comes out of Apex to where they can punish. Looking at it right now, there are only a couple of options for Apex to push right now. It's either down the 1 line, down the 5 line straight up the middle, or around on the 8 line. And if you look at the positions of the grills, they're in positions where they can very quickly turn to one side or the other and put their guns on target. And those 2 grills, 750 alpha a pop, 1,500, so they can almost delete a tank just between themselves. All they need is 1 extra shot from someone else to clean them up. And so with this setup they're running, as long as those grills can quickly get to the targets they need to, put their shots downrange accurately, then this is going to be a very hard defense for Apex to break.
Yeah. Doing a really good job here of, again, staying solid. That's what Deja Vu is good at.
Yeah, definitely. And MacTap Putin here just sitting in the bush, spotting down the 1 line. Little does he know there's actually no one for miles down that line, so won't find anyone. Canadian Impact's actually going for the B8 boost up there, climbing the hill. Like I said earlier, Canadian Impact pretty much the GOAT of his team in a way, just getting up there. Early on this season, especially on Cliff and on Mines, he was doing all the boosts for his team, and he's just sitting up here hoping to catch some sort of rotate out for Apex.
Wow, and Chase. So much damage. He is now 1 shot away from being taken out of this fight. Oh, never mind. There it is. Photo finish with a beautiful shot.
Yep, and he's actually going to move up down the 9 line right now. Really start working these tanks of Deja Vu down. And the thing is right now is if you look at this setup, if they push to photo finish to try to get him down, the spot that Canadian Impact's on will actually have good support fire as well as the tanks from the hill. If they push over the 1 line right now because they think there's some sort of push coming out of the 9-0, Canadian Impact can just turn to the right and have covering shots onto Akula sitting there lighting that line right now.
We are down to 6 minutes and 25 seconds left, so still not quite halftime, but almost there. As I'm sure we will find something out of Apex coming very soon.
Well, if you look at the defense, they've kind of rotated around Deja Vu. They've moved over towards the 1-2 line.
I really like how they're not staying static as well.
Yeah, well, exactly. They're moving. They realize that their team's trying to take more aggressive positions on the other side to try to catch them out, and then they're adjusting to deal with it. Photo Finish has actually backed off the 9 line and has come back to the 7 line to try to work that angle there. The Grills both choosing to move around right now. Looks like Durgel is moving back towards K5. Actually, he's going towards the rock at K6. Have some shots there for his team. Nitz is proc spotted, so they should, both him and Nationwide should have shots if they push out. But the push is coming right now for Apex. They're pushing down the 9 line very aggressively.
Go. And at this point, I would love to get a listen in here with Deja Vu to see exactly how they're going to deal with this push.
Push up to here. We have to push up to here to get him. Watch for the counter push. That's going to track.
I'm watching.
I retract. He's retract. He's permanent. Stay on him. Stay on him. Are you watching it? He's racked. He's racked.
I'm watching north. Don't worry.
Okay, good.
Bad mid.
Shoot hill. I'm going to get north.
He's tracked. Thomas tracked. He's repped.
I'm going to get north.
Okay, I'm clipping.
TVPs, just look to punish them there.
Nitz,
come at
kill
you,
the
bro.
bats.
Come kill the bats.
Just don't let them up. Don't let them up.
Green
External.
one.
Let me get in front here.
Yeah, light for the grill.
Just, I'm
Okay,
coming
green
down.
one.
Give me a sec.
Yeah,
They're stuck. They're stuck.
It's okay.
My left click didn't work. I would have a free shot into them. Like it was like the controls for some reason forgot to give me left click. I didn't have a shoot button.
It's not
But does it still work?
Yeah, it works now. Like I had to go in and replace it while they were crossing in front of me.
That sucks.
It's okay. Like they fucking knew I was there.
Yeah.
Like right in the beginning, fucking Germ got spotted, so he fucking knew that I was there.
So you need to be safer.
So Apex, with that one push, pretty much putting all the nails necessary in that coffin.
Yep, a little bit of a mix-up there in the comms. It was actually Apex.
It was at the
that we were
start, it
hearing
was
early.
Apex, right, and then we did go to Deja Vu.
And apparently some technical issues they're not happy with their gear up there. It seems like keyboard malfunctioning. But we'll make sure that's sorted out before the next battle.
And speaking of which, it is going to be 1-0 in favor of Apex.
Yeah, nothing too surprising there. Apex just kind of got into position. They made sure that everything that they wanted to see was where they wanted them. They made sure they didn't over-rotate through the 1-2 line. They didn't have to worry about being overmatched in the north. And once they got all their guns together and they were pretty sure where the guns were, they just made that decisive push. Aggressor got left in a very awkward spot. You could tell he wanted to try to push up against that rock where they made that push in the 9 line. But the problem was the TVP was up on the hill, so if he pushed all the way over there, the TVP in the bat on the hill would have shots into his back where he couldn't really do anything. And if he stayed where he was, the 2 Tier 9 bats and the bat chats were all going to have shots in his front plate from a near unmissable range. So at that point, it just worked out in their favor, and not a whole lot you can do after you start losing a couple tanks like that.
Yeah. So the question is now how is Deja Vu going to answer on offense? Because we know that this is generally where they tend to kind of want to break out some of those crazy strats, as well as, you know, just try something new in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get into that, look at the damage here. Germ in the Tier 9 bat, 3,000 damage in the Tier 9 bat. It's not bad at all. And then Dodoma, 2,800. Nothing shocking there. And
This is the first time I've seen an uneven, I think one of the first times I've seen an uneven spread here from the team of Apex.
Yeah, and then looking at it, Durgel and Nationwide and the Grills both doing almost 1,500, but that's only 2 shots of damage, really. It's not really enough to be effective, especially when you're running a strat that's that based around those Grills.
And then, unfortunately, this is where we find all but one of Team Deja Vu.
Yep. Now, remember early in the season when Deja Vu were on defense, they had that nasty shot from Chase Potato
Yeah,
onto...
that blind.
Yeah,
That was blind.
Blind? Well,
Onto Executus of Rival.
not foreshadowing anything here. They're attacking this time, but the M4043 is going to come out for Deja Vu this game.
Is it Chase?
It is Chase Potato.
Okay. Chase has done some pretty rude things in that Artie. We'll have to see he's able to do it here again against the Apex.
Yep, and kind of an interesting lineup out of Apex as well. Choosing to come in here with a IS-7, a Grill, 2 TVPs, 2 Batchats, and an RU-251. Meanwhile, Deja Vu, 2 Batchats, a 113, 2 TVPs of their own, a 3rd Batchat, and an M4043. So bringing that artillery. Now remember, they are attacking. Earlier we saw Wallhacks bring the Lorraine 155-51.
Yes.
And that already has some speed, so it can kind of flex around and get where it needs to be very early. This M4043 doesn't have that same sort of flexibility, however, it just hits a lot harder. And this is the second time today, actually, where we're going to see the attacking team not directly challenge the hill. They're set up for some early damage on the hill, but they're not actually going to challenge it. Canadian Impact, external, and it looks like who's following up behind them? Dodoma. Nits, the TVP's doing the climb here on the backside of the hill. I haven't seen that before. I've seen the Batchats do it. I did not know the
Dodoma is a
TVP's could do it.
climbing monster. He's the best in my opinion.
A lot of players in this team have done a lot of work as far as learning these climbs and getting them down. Him, Canadian Impact, and External are the ones that stick out in my mind. But now all of a sudden, even though they're defending, Apex have 4 guns up on the hill right now. 4, and then only Germ
slowly closing off the rest of the map here for Deja Vu. Yeah, you're absolutely
over
correct.
on the 9 landing right now. The biggest thing that Deja Vu need to worry about is they need to get some momentum going pretty soon, because if this gets to be, 3 or 4-0 at that point, especially being their first time at a finals, you have to wonder if they're going to be able to really put up a fight at that point. Well, Putin is poking around here, trying to spot Germ. I think they have an idea that he's over there, but I don't know for sure. But just look at this positioning out of Deja Vu. They've given up so much to the map.
Yeah, Apex is also, again, they're closing off, suffocating most of the map here, and really giving Deja Vu no options. And the only options they have are actually options that Apex wants them to try to exploit.
Yeah, exactly. And Germ taking a lot of damage right now, getting caught out over there on the 9 line, and he goes down.
Okay, so not a bad pickup here for Deja Vu, starting off well here in the second battle of this map. But they're going to need more, much more.
Yep, and well, it's a tier 8 light down for Apex. You got to remember, Deja Vu did bring that artillery, so the loss of eyes,
essentially.
Yeah, the loss of eyes for Apex isn't going to be the end of the world. If they both had a tier 8 light and one goes down, then obviously it's a huge advantage. In this case, that advantage Deja Vu has is the damage that artillery can do. If he can't really connect any of his shots, then it's almost like they didn't have him to begin with. And Deja Vu are gonna shift towards the 1 line right now and try to make a push down there. Apex have control of the hill, so this is really the only play left for Deja Vu in this point. If they tried to push towards the 9 line or the 1 cap, the gun's up on the hill, and sitting down there in J9 would be in position to punish too soon. So the smart decision by Deja Vu to back out. They are up on HP by about 400, so not a lot, but enough.
Okay, and Aggressor is actually going to be staying back there with Chase, which is something that we would expect Aggressor to be, towards the front lines. But there is 6 minutes and 30 seconds left here on the clock, and there is going to be some cap pressure starting. And at this moment, I would like to take the chance to get a listen in here with Apex.
Dodo, you know how to blind it, right?
Blind what? Oh,
the J1.
It means that most likely they did get
yeah,
a
I can see over there.
There's a tank in F2.
I wasn't able to spot A8, so they could have gotten
Photo.
that up there.
If you can, just someone needs to spot this.
Yeah,
bounce.
They already got it crossed.
All right, he's in J1. He's in J1.
Okay, is there a bat up here? Okay, there isn't. There isn't. Okay, then we should probably start rotating our bats off the hill and start going north. Okay, they're taking a lot of.
Already fired.
551.
Okay, so
they're
Artie's most likely
blinding
here.
the bush still.
Okay. They're looking at punishing the bull. So basically the 2 TVPs are the only.
I'm clipping.
Dark.
I can't.
So
I have to stay up here, Nitz. You have to go.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Hey, everything's lit, but they're TVPs.
Okay, Nits Impact External. We're gonna have to use you.
Can you guys blind this? Blind this bush. Blind it now.
Yeah.
Do not stop blinding it.
There's my little.
There's my little boost. Yeah, he's up. Okay, 50 seconds on cap.
I'm clipping right now.
1 shot.
50 seconds should be enough time.
I'm going
so
for a
don't-
reset right now.
Just be careful.
Clipping.
I got the reset.
We got a
Okay,
reset. We
good.
got a reset.
We got time.
We're moving north.
Okay, Coola's taking a lot of damage.
We may get lit from island.
All right, you guys have to blind that fucking bush.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. Okay,
Just don't
hold
peek,
on.
Akula. Just don't peek.
We'll have resets now, I think.
There's one TVP. Careful, the other TVP is likely
light this,
here.
light this. They're gonna push it. They're pushing it right
Already
now.
up,
They're going
already
to
up,
they're gonna
already
push
up.
it.
I've got Artie.
Okay,
So we have eyes on the backside.
Dodo look to punish when they push on Akula because they're gonna have to push around on Akula.
Mm-hmm.
The Artie is down. You don't have to worry about Artie anymore. The TVPs are on the island. Just don't take too much damage, guys.
Oh, he's not pushing now.
They're not pushing.
They're not
Okay,
pushing.
The hit points are about even. They
Cool.
have to do
You may
something.
still want to look for that because he could get the one bat's full HP. So. Oh, nice. They're just
Nice pick, nice pick.
clipping. I'm going out island.
There's
with
just
impact.
two tanks still on the 1-2. Back
Yeah,
tanks
there's two,
still on the
two
island.
tanks on the island.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
they're
They're
still
low
there.
HP.
There's
Let
a
me
I will have
move up.
resets in
Yeah.
20.
Guys, comms. There's a bat and a TVP here. There's a bat, 2 bats down here, and the 113's cap. We know where everything is. We know where everything
They're
is.
pushing.
They're shading
They
south.
sh-
They're
Harmless
shading
is
south.
going across.
Look
Harmless
for
is going
shots of
across.
aggressor if you can have them.
They're going
Harmless,
south.
punish
Nish, you have to
Harmless.
help.
Yeah,
with the
this
help.
TVP, go over to the hill now.
Nish, you have to
fast.
help with Harmless.
Akula just tuck in his best.
You just have to get shots on them. You don't have to necessarily. They're gonna push south.
The
Only
resets
have
are going
one
to
more
have to come
Akula.
from north.
I've got it.
Come from
Don't worry.
impact, okay?
Don't worry about resets.
Only have one more.
Good shot.
He's tracked. He's tracked.
Who's gonna reset?
I've got it.
North. Impact, you got resets?
I'm going middle. I've got to go middle.
Okay, we got reset.
Help.
Nits. No one can really
Reloading.
help you, but Nits.
Harmless is 1 shot. He's at 70 HP.
No, we got that situation's handled.
I'm
Okay,
clipping.
South is handled
I need
for now.
this
South
guy.
is okay.
I need this guy to be protected. Or
All
like,
right.
cover
Then
me.
let's.
I can.
He's shooting at external. Mac taps at 1.
He can
2.
de-light.
He's out two.
5 seconds, I'll be able to do something.
I got 22 seconds.
Mac tap is 1 shot.
I'm gonna come off the kill
Yep.
and help Akula, alright?
Yep.
You guys hold
No,
your
you're
positions.
good. You're good. No,
Yep.
Nits, don't.
No, I'm
Just
gonna
stay
die.
There. Stay there and stare at him. They're fucked. They have the 1 shot
Sure,
that's on the
I
island.
We have
die.
perma resets. We have perma resets.
We have resets from north. Akula can die, but like that guy can't leave there. That's all that has to happen.
If I die, he can leave.
I'm gonna have to clip at some point. In fact.
Basically, just have Akula stare at one side of the rock and have Nits stare at the other.
Impact. Can I clip now?
Akula's
Sure.
staring at the
There's
left.
a bush. He will spot me and kill
There
me.
he is.
All right.
Good trade.
I'm clipping.
This is lit.
Nits should probably.
I'm just gonna
I
reload.
still need help external.
Impact, how
I
much?
just shot
I'll
to the aggressor.
I'll
Shot
kill
to
the
the aggressor.
113.
Comms. Impact, what's your clip?
I got 1 shot. I'll kill nationwide.
Okay,
There he
Impact,
is. There's
screen
Milo
1,
Putin.
external, what are you?
They're going back for you, Impact. They're going back for you.
Yeah. There's 2 minutes, 20 seconds. 2 minutes, 20 seconds. 3
Red
tanks.
18. Just look to support Impact.
Red
Yeah.
5, red 5.
Make them
I'm
die
good.
when they push. That's all that has to happen.
Yep.
I'm good.
We're up massive.
Good shit,
They have
guys.
to do a lot of shit.
I absolutely adore the way comms works on Apex, and I love the way Germs does it.
Yeah, well, and like I said earlier, we were talking about how Faust is kind of like the traffic controller in a sense for 07. And the Eclipse kind of have more free-flowing comms, and you don't really have that one voice that's really saying, all right, we need to do this, just go. Germ, very, while everyone's talking, passing the information, he just puts his foot down at certain points, says, all right, guys, listen up, this is what needs to happen right now.
I mean, he
Forget what
lets
you're
them.
already talking
He
about.
lets them speak. He by no means, is like the dictator. But when that switch needs to happen to him calling and him making the decisions, he makes it happen. But also, huge respect to Apex to also just shutting down and listening. They don't try to overrule him.
Yeah,
That's
well,
why I think the comms of Apex is right now the best I've heard.
He understands the importance of the comms just in general and all the information that's passed between each other, but he also understands at certain points things need to happen, things need to move, and so they are able to, at that point, just to, all right, comms is what he says, and then they all shut up for a second, and Grim says, all right, we need to do this or this, and everyone goes back to business as normal. Gets the point across, they make sure they're all on the same page, and they execute. And they were down almost 1,500 HP for most of this match, but managed to just keep it composed, isolated, harmless in the south. In that bat chat, kept them there for a good while. And you got to like it when you have players like Akula who are just sitting there and, people are kind of panicking and like, well, you're one shot and whatnot. He knew that he had him angled. The bat chat knew that the grill had reloaded. So he knew that there was no way he was going to kill him. And so Akula's just like, guys, the situation down here is handled.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And so when you have a player that can just confidently say, no, we're good, just go about your business, it makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah, and Nitz was also right there to help trade, so they literally had the South handled, which is exactly what was exchanged on comps. So this is why Apex is one of the best. Excuse me, they are the best team so far in the North American region.
Yep, and that's going to be
with Eclipse very close second as far as performance, obviously.
Yep, and that's going to be 2-0 in favor of Deja Vu. Now, however, one thing you have to remember is we're going into Murovanka, which is a map that Deja Vu started this season very strong on, especially versus Eclipse. They were the first team in North America, anyways, to bring that Crusader SP. Now, a couple of the other regions had done it before, literally like days before, but Deja Vu were the first ones to bring it during this season. So they have potential. They can kind of come up with those creative strats, and maybe. See, here's the problem right now is they haven't really done what what the analysts were talking about earlier and put that chink in the armor and get things going.
They definitely have not.
They've barely dented Apex. Now that game was a bit closer in the first, but still not perfect. And now going into this third battle, they need to find a way in. They need to find a way where they can really make Apex work for it and get some points on the board. If they try to throw up one of those Hail Mary strats right now, just something super random, I'm pretty sure it's just going to get shut down by Apex because they'll be ready for it.
Yeah, and this is the real problem. If Deja Vu if they can't even get a slight momentum build going, then they're really going to be in trouble, especially against Apex.
Yeah, exactly. And look at the damage here out of Canadian Impact.
He's so good.
4,400 damage.
He's so ridiculous. Wasn't he leading at one point, or pretty much the entire season? I want to say he was the tank killer of the season.
Yeah, exactly. He was always there to just clean up kills. He didn't necessarily do a whole lot of damage, but he was able to just pick up kill after kill after kill all season. MacTap Putin coming in there with 3,700, and it just drops off after there. And then looking at the bottom page, once again, I was talking about losing Germ didn't necessarily really matter if Chase Potato couldn't really get any big shots in there.
Right.
Exactly. Even though they lost the eyes in Germ, the artillery wasn't really able to be effective that whole series. Yeah, there's the threat of him being up, but if you can't launch shots, it doesn't matter.
Then we have the Canadian Impact himself.
Yep, the team GOAT of Apex, as you will, just always doing those boosts and climbs. And,
I don't know. Dodoma is pretty ridiculous too, but as we say that, we are ready here to go into the second map of this series between Apex and Deja Vu.
Murovanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team often attempts to gain the attention of defenders by putting pressure on the first base, whilst manoeuvring several tanks behind the second base to deliver fire into the defending's flank. Team setups are very diverse, but the players often choose the fastest tanks, even for heavy setups. They could even bring SPGs.
And looking at the lineups here, Apex coming in with 4 Bad Chats, E5 and IS4, and an AMX 1390. Deja Vu, on the other hand, coming in with 2 T57s, 3 Bad Chats, a TVP, and a 1390 of their own.
All right, so we are going to see 2 T57 heavies, which you've stated before have a faster clip reload time than the Bad Chats.
TVPs, yeah, they have about a 20-second clip reload. Tier 9 bats come in, or the Tier 9 bats come in at around 45 to 50 seconds.
Or I'm sorry, yeah, the TVPs. I apologize.
I was really confused there for a second.
No, I actually confused myself, so it's okay. Yes, the TVPs.
Yep, the 1390s also have about a 40-second reload, and the Bat Chat's a bit faster than that. Depends on if they're running rations, vents, etc.
Correct. What equipment you're running on your tank.
Yep.
Oh, early shots here coming from Akula already on a Chase Potato, and actually the whole team of Deja Vu is going to back off here. So they tried a little cap pressure, and then they just completely rotated off.
Yep, and Chase Potato just taking a lot of damage from these Bat Chats. About to go down, just heading for the cover that he can get to.
Oh, and Harmless
gets
now
caught
is
out.
at a one-shot.
A lot of damage.
And that, damn it, the HP advantage is already massive for Apex. Oh, but it is slowly getting depleted there. Photo Finish taking damage as well as Akula now with a dead driver. Or excuse me, a dead gunner.
Yep. Now looking at it, Photo Finish has taken a good bit of damage first trouble, but they've managed to put out a lot of damage onto Deja Vu, with Harmless and Cheese Potato being one shots at this point. Aggressor and MacTap Putin both taking a shot of damage apiece. The thing to remember right now is Apex are defending, so they're not necessarily going to be super worried about making a move. Germ has just picked one of the many bushes in that south field to sit passively in, so it's going to take Deja Vu a while to figure out exactly where he is, and he's already running binos and vents on the thing, so he'll have a pretty good spotting range as well.
Oh. And what do you know? A bat chat bouncing a shell. It's ridiculous.
At some point, you think we'd stop being surprised by that.
You would think. Well, at the 7-minute mark, I am very curious to know what Deja Vu is thinking and how their comms are like, so let's just head right in with a listen-in of Deja Vu.
I go to these houses. D57, one go here, right? 157 play here, let's go.
Okay.
We're going far away?
Nation's not gonna be able to get out without getting left.
No, yeah, I can't get out. I'm getting spotted as soon as I move.
I can get out without getting left, but Nation can't.
I think Nations just stay.
Yep. Yeah, I have to.
I'll spot the east. MacTap gets on cap.
Okay, I'm going.
Wait.
Do not get on cap. Make sure we have this 57 grouped up with us, okay?
Yeah. Let me get that. Come on.
3090, try to like proxy spot. You are one shot at prox. Just stay in the bush, okay?
I have a camo now. I can stay in the bush.
Yeah, stay in the bush somewhere. Waiting for the Durgel.
Coming.
Durgel, you play just here, control this.
Okay.
I'll play these houses. Putin, ты на капе, короче. Все, поехали. Go.
I'll try to give as much help as I can. Kind of move in probably a little bit.
Yeah, just play with aggressor, Harmless. But be careful. I'm spotted.
Like up here, maybe? I don't know. I get spotted at really weird places.
I did get spotted.
Aggressor.
Yep, there he is.
You have shots on external? No? No one took damage for that, right?
Does anybody got the spot if they come
Hey,
this way?
TVP,
I can
go
watch
here.
that. I can
go
watch
here,
that.
support me. Someone. Harmless or TVP?
Harmless do it.
No, Nation will probably keep this spotted though.
I'm watching. I can see.
I got lit.
Yeah.
I got lit.
Cool.
Durgel,
Okay,
57.
fine.
I've only got 3 shells.
Spotted.
See? This is bad.
Yep.
Okay, there's a... You're just getting shot from here now, too.
E5 is gonna try and go for a reset, I think, eventually.
Harmless, you need to control E5. Harmless, you need to control this E5, can you?
Yeah, somebody has to control him. He's gonna poke.
I mean,
What the hell? Are you serious?
I don't have good shots on him. I don't have
Hey,
shots.
E5.
I don't have good shots.
Poking.
Okay, for now it's okay. He doesn't have reset like that.
I don't have any good shots. Oh, I see. Yeah.
This is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
There's bat.
As soon as I back up, I'm getting fucked. Yep, there's another bat in the south.
Maybe pushing E5.
E5 is pushing.
I don't have any fucking shots up here. It's just stupid.
I'm clipping.
On the reset. They reset me.
I'm just gonna...
Germ's gonna get me soon. Let's just try to push into this.
Yep, well, Deja Vu ended up getting their cap reset, and at that point, all momentum was gone. They were down on HP at that point anyways.
No, and their HP, as you can see it's a perfect bar graph going from highest to lowest.
Yep, it's just dwindling right now, and the reset or the cap was the only thing they had in their favor at that point. The second they lose that, it's just all over. Apex are just going to push in here, pick up the kills, and end this here pretty quickly.
I mean, Deja Vu, I mean, they were communicating fairly well. Oh, Dutama with a double. They were communicating fairly well. The information being passed along was useful, but the mindset from the get-go was, man, if we move, we're screwed. If we move, we're screwed. Like in almost every single position.
Exactly. And they just kept them moving and moving. And right now, Deja Vu, you know, they tried to play the middle, didn't work for them. So they tried to shift over towards this 2-3 line and force the cap. But they didn't really do enough to soften up Apex or make them move around or second guess anything. And they just cleaned them up.
Again, going back to what Meadowhawk said, you got to put a kink in their armor, and they haven't even really done anything remotely close to that.
Well, they have a
well, you could say the one game on Mines, where there was 4 tanks left for each side or each team, but
at the end of the day, you know, being close doesn't necessarily matter because it's still a 3-0 on the scoreboard right now. And that's what most of these guys are going to see right now. They're going to see, nope, we're down 3-0, could be 4-0 here in a second. Now, this is the best chance they have to pick up a round, in my opinion, and that's a Murovanka defense. So hopefully they can keep things nice and tight and really make Apex work for it. Looking at the damage here, Dodoma, Impact, External, all doing pretty good damage. No one crazy, though. Then Malapudin coming in with 2,200 damage, 2 clips. Not overly crazy. Did what he could, but just not enough overall for Deja Vu. And then Mactap Putin, 1,800, just over 1.5 clips. I think he probably got into his second. Wasn't able to get them all off before he went down, though.
This is tough to watch, James. This is very tough to watch. I feel for Deja Vu, and I want them to be able to get at least a few rounds, but it is not impossible for us to see 7 straight for Apex here.
Yep. Well, it's on the way to happening right now. And the other thing
I mean, you're right. Yeah,
the other thing you have to worry about right now is if you're Deja Vu or a fan of them, if they drop this round right now, they're gonna have to play 07 next, which means they're going to in 07 at least look to be in fighting shape earlier. So far, not quite seen that out of Deja Vu.
One of the longest running tanks players in the league is Dodoma.
Yeah, he's been around for a very long time. Played with Fnatic when they were there, and I believe Fulcrum as well. I have to check on Fulcrum. I believe he was at Fulcrum early on. But then he went over to River of Blood for like half a season. Then he went on to the Cunninghams, and then, you know, the whole history of the Cunninghams, Noble, and now Apex as they've evolved. And he's been one of the few players that's been able to stay on that roster pretty much every season since he joined it. And they've always made a lot of changes every season. You know, 1 or 2 players coming. This season they changed 4 players on that roster. So they've always been trying to evolve that roster. You know, they get rid of the weakest links, at least in comps and the rest of the team's opinion. And if they have better options to bring in, they do it. And the end result is the roster that we have right now. I don't even know if I'd call this a finished roster, but the roster they have right now, which you have to argue is probably the strongest roster they've had in a while, it's pretty impressive to look at.
Yeah. And I'm seeing a lot of smiling from some of the members of Deja Vu, and in a situation like this, you almost don't want to see that. I mean, it's great that you're here and you're having fun, but you are 3 games straight down against the best team in the league. You gotta have a little more of that game face we talked about earlier.
Yeah, you gotta stay positive to a certain extent, though.
Right.
If you get 2 down in the dumps too early, it becomes a problem. Looking at the lineups here, 3 Bat Chats, an Object 430 V2, a Bat Chat AP, an IS-7, and a T-57. Deja Vu coming out with a T-57 and 2 E5s, 2 Bat Chats, 3 Bat Chats, and a Crusader SP. Once again, I said, you know, Deja Vu is the first team to bring out Crusader SP this season. It's been used by a couple of other teams since, but they're going back to that original setup. Bringing the 2 E5s, it's a lot of holding power, as you will, as well as the T-57. The T-57 can pump out, you know, a lot of damage very quickly. 1,600 in the clip, but then on top of that, it only has around a 22-second reload for the whole clip itself, so it's just a DPM monster.
So we're actually seeing essentially a 2-cap play or a setup for it coming out of Apex, which is normally what we do not see. The 1-cap is pretty much the dominant cap point for this map as far as offense goes.
Yeah, exactly. Teams try to play the 2-cap a lot. The problem is there's so many bushes that tanks can be hiding in. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of coordination to successfully clear all of them, because a lot of it just has to be done by blind fire. Blind fire in itself is a tricky skill. Anyone can shoot a bush, but you have to realize that you hit a tank, which The way you tell that is, do you see the shell actually hit anything behind it, or can you see the shell go past it, or did the shell disappear?
Yeah.
There's a lot of little things you have to look for, and it takes a lot of practice, not just as an individual player to do it, but a lot.
And generally,
all
if you
teammates.
see the shell disappear, is when you know you've hit something.
Exactly, and so you can kind of guess something's there, but you still don't have an outline of the tank, so you got to keep firing more shells.
Right,
You may
and it
miss
could
one
move at that
angle.
point, especially if it's still not spotted. It can be a giant pain in the rear, if you will.
Yep, and now all these tanks are coming forward, and they're starting to blind fire towards the south here. Photo finish is spotted right now, so I think he has a pretty good idea where these guns are for Deja Vu, or at least the passive scout is. They're not quite there yet. All the lasers aiming south. And they're slowly checking everything. Now they're moving up. I expect to see them stop again here in the near future, line up new shots in a new bush, and start coordinating their blind fire again. They're actually just going to move towards the south.
Well, you know what? As we see this push, I would love to get a listen in here with Apex.
They could be at.
External, go to your building.
Yep.
Like, clear this again with the
Wanna
bats
reload?
going north.
All right, I'm cycling out.
One person sits at this bush, right?
Yeah. Go
Yeah, it
back
can
to
be
that.
me. Be me.
There's
I'll
only
do
3
it.
bats, right? There's only 3 bats, so we can use our 3 bats or our 4 bats to take the rest of the map. Okay.
Dodo, it's next to the destructible building.
Just remember, they could have moved something to A7 where we didn't see it.
They don't know where we're at, though. They don't know. They
west
don't
or
have
the
any
north
intel.
one?
Oh, we should blind the shit out of this bush.
The south one, Dodo.
Okay.
Southwest.
You in
I
that
got lit right here. I got lit right here where I am.
Okay, try to narrow down where.
They're not. He's not at the retard bush, I don't think.
Our 6
I'm
minutes,
not
47 seconds. External, once we get to this
All right,
part,
I did get lit.
to the forest, I want you to go to the G7.
So what's the plan here?
I'm trying to blind bushes.
Yeah,
for 6.5.
All right. When I fired, I got lit from where I fired.
There's your lit. There's your lit.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we sending all the bats north or not?
Not yet. Let's start working the bushes and then we'll strip our bats north. I'm gonna go K-line and try to
Trace
blind
nits.
Time,
Trace
though.
nits.
Yeah.
You damaged him.
6:50.
418.
Okay. Impact.
They destroyed the building.
Let me
over
figure
here.
out shit.
They
Could be
destroyed
the
this.
bush up there, the binoc bush.
6 minutes.
Where was that photo?
Crusader.
So do we
That was
have
E5.
an idea of where they're at? I got lit. I think he's down the road. I'm gonna test it again.
He could be in the bush right there, the northern one.
Yeah, could maybe be in there.
Like the
normal cross stitch.
The one that we got that
Yeah,
was
I
used
just
against
got
us in that practice. Remember that one? And we couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's where.
I got lit. He's somewhere over here. He's somewhere over here. He's down this line. He's down this line somewhere.
All right. So it's probably in the normal bush clump, the
Yes.
cross bush clump. So
Yes.
that's around the northern part of that. So it's around the 8, I think, in that.
The 8 on the
square.
numpad.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
on the 8.
Blind the shit out of the 8. Blind the shit out of the 8. The cross.
So it's the very northern one.
Bad Chat's over here on top of the hill. Bad Chat's next to E5. He's definitely in that bush. I got lit again. He has to be here. He could be maybe in the edge of the forest, but I don't think so.
In the big clump?
Yeah, I think he's in the big clump, or he's on the road.
He's on the 8 position.
I'm not getting lit
Do it for
firing at
about a minute more. I mean, you know.
Dodo, can you
I
go
think
in there and just help them blind it? Because I'll watch the A line.
All right, fine.
Just go over there.
I think he's on the road.
We don't have time. Like, we
4
either
minutes,
gotta
50
blind him
seconds.
out or do something.
Well,
He's moved. He's moved. I'm not getting lit.
Then we probably did some damage to him.
Then he has to be on the road. Yeah.
I'm blind on the road as every time I reload. All right, I'm gonna have to get on the caps shortly.
Yep. Alright, so we're actually going to do something different here, and we're actually just going to jump over into the Deja Vu comms right now and hear exactly what their opponents are saying.
You should turn around. You should turn. Oh shit.
They're back.
Hold on.
Because I don't want like 4 batches storming
I'll
your
see
ass.
them coming from across the field is the thing.
He's moving, dude. Guys.
Yeah, no
I'm
shots.
shooting.
Fall down.
Just heat on the side of I-7 then.
Batch at AP.
Shoot it on the
Just
cap.
shoot the bat.
Best
Shoot the
AP.
cap. Shoot the cap. Just shoot the cap.
I-7.
How close? How close?
75.
He's tracking.
He's 79, so I'm okay right now, but see if we can kill him.
Trying.
He's kind of scared to go any further. Bad AP coming in. Bats coming in.
Okay, yep.
Focus
Shoot.
bats. Focus
Canadian's
bats.
track.
Canadian's track. Blue's kit. Blue's kit. Let's go to the house.
I-7? No, I-7 scared. Cap.
Don't shoot Putin, I'll get him.
50 seconds. Be careful, be careful. They shouldn't hear. Remember, they have the 57.
Harm, you can move, by the way. You
Yeah,
can try
I
to
know,
move
I'm-
towards.
Don't forget about their 57, guys.
Yep.
57's in the city or in the edge of the forest.
I can kill him. Hold on.
Let's go.
Okay, guys, tell me what spot can you? Okay, touch at AP, guys.
How many shots? No shots.
I'm tracked, but my track's not disabled.
Because you didn't switch it in the settings.
No, I fixed it, and then it was orange, and then it said it wasn't broken, but it still
Oh
was.
yeah, same. Okay.
I think AP is about to get at the same spot.
Okay, sure. I'm glad
2
my
on cap, 30 seconds.
interface worked.
Aggressive, shut the fuck up, dude.
Move the heavy tanks in now.
Okay. Through the building,
Where
right?
where can we not? Yeah, where can we not spot? Is
Am I
it the northern
spotting?
cap?
There it is. Still there.
I'm resetting.
Shots. Okay, no cap. There you go, cap.
Try to help Putin.
Things just piecing together nicely for Apex.
Just ever so nicely.
Yep, Deja Vu just didn't have an answer. You heard them calling out what they were doing. They saw it coming, but they were just caught out of position. Apex was just able to put too many guns on their tanks too soon, knocked them down. They got Milo Putin down pretty early. Aggressor got tracked, went down as well. And then Nationwide also got caught out fairly early on.
Yeah, and that is going to be 4 straight games here for Apex. And honestly, it seems like tempers are flaring a little bit for Deja Vu.
Well, at some point, you just have to clean up your comms. You gotta make sure people know to be quiet once they're already dead. There's not a whole lot you can always do about everything, so just cut out the unnecessary chatter, move on with life. And that's pretty much what was happening there. So now it's gonna be 4-0 in favor of Apex. 3 more wins for Apex would make this a 7-0. It would guarantee Apex a trip to New York, and it would move them along into our finals for today.
Yeah. Are we gonna see the very first? Oh, come on, give me that bump. Ah, there we go. Are we gonna see our very first 7-0? Or potentially, I would say this would be the only 7-0 we would even see.
Well, at this point, if Deja Vu can't pick up anything in the next map, then going into the last map at a 6-0, momentum's going to be so gone, the wind completely out of their sails. I don't even think it matters what map it is at that point. I think it's pretty much over. Now, if we take a second to look at it, the next map up, I was going to say that, maybe this is a map that Deja Vu are going to be more comfortable on, but we're moving on to Himmelsdorf. We're going on to
You could
Himmelsdorf.
argue that Apex is all right at this map.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just, slightly above average, maybe. They're not 17 on 5 on the map by any stretch of the imagination.
So Nitsakula and Photo Finish here just, again, dominating. Apex has been a force to be reckoned with online, and now it seems on land. They may have finally kicked that curse that they have, and this could be their time. Again, the consistency out of Nits, Akula, Photo Finish. Germ, oddly enough, has been making it on the top page. Again, being their caller as well as the Tier 8 Light player for the team.
Yeah, well, when he was playing a Tier 9 in this case, so he was able to fire a lot, doing a lot of blind fire. And just look at the numbers out of Apex. Look at how many shots some of these guys have. Photo Finish at 19, Germ at 24, and that just comes down to the blind fire. They're sitting there hoping to hit those bushes, so they're just firing and firing and firing. We don't really have the days of 754 anymore where the T54 lightweights only carry, I believe it's like 36 shells. So they would just run out of shells if they did too much blind firing. It used to be a problem with these Tier 10s carrying the ammo unless you're in a bat chat. It's not really an issue.
And there is Nits for Apex.
Yeah, been on, like I said, he's been around for a long while. He was on SIP for a good portion for the last, I think, 2 seasons? After MacG stepped down, when the Hammer Time guys merged with SIP.
That is a very old mouse pad. And I say that because that's one of the first generation. I believe that's a Control. Just throwing that out there. It's seen some better days.
Yep, and that's Dodoma. And that's something.
That's a lot of tanks on that mouse pad.
Yep, well, that's something that we haven't really talked about. When you're at these LAN events, you're not playing at your normal desk.
Right.
So you want to do everything that you can to make yourself
make
as
it comfortable,
at that desk. I've heard stories of people bringing rulers so they can measure out exactly how far their mouse pad should be from their
That's
keyboard
a little
and the
excessive.
angle. I've heard stories
No,
of people doing that.
I would believe it. There's a lot of players that are superstitious, just like they would be in any other sport. You know, like for instance, socks for baseball players. I'm sure there's got to be something like that in esports and tanks as well. It's just it's crazy. But let's go ahead and see, speaking of crazy, if we are going to see a 7-0 as we go into the next map between Apex and Deja Vu.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
And Deja Vu breaking out Bert the Avenger. Why?
Talk to me about Bert the Avenger.
The FP304, the tiny little artillery piece that doesn't have a whole lot of splash. It's actually the same gun that we see on the Crusader SP. A lot of these teams run the small gun on the Crusader SP. That's this gun right here. And look at this angle. He's actually he is aiming up through.
What is this?
He is aiming up through the hangar of that train station over towards the other line. I'm assuming he's just sitting here making calls. There's no way he has a shot through that gap. That would be absolutely absurd if he had found an angle through there. We'll have to see if he ends up firing, but that's just ridiculous. Yep. So often called the shoebox. I think at this point, he's not actually aiming anything. He's just moving around.
This is his screen. This is exactly what he sees.
Yep. So he's just moving around trying to see what's spotted. He doesn't have the range. You got to remember the range on this gun is extremely small. Aggressor actually getting caught out, taking a good bit of damage there. Now, the one thing that we used to see back in the 754 days is if you put the 3004 over at, I believe, B1 and C1 over there, it actually has enough arc to shoot over this train station and get resets on that 2 cap. It can also be handy for resetting the 1 cap in the south. Why you wouldn't... I mean, at this point, I don't think it really matters, but if you're going to bring 3004 here, why not bring the 3004 on instead of a Crusader SP on Murovanka? I don't know. Looking for some shots. Now, he actually has an angle. That's a bit further than I thought he'd have range on. He actually will have shots on that 8 line, but little does he know that most of Apex have already just pushed past that line.
This is just odd because, again, kind of like you said, this isn't like an SPG map. Like, it's not an arty map.
And the one while we've been sitting there talking about the 3004, the shoebox as a lot of people call it, we didn't even look at the lineup of Apex.
What
2
size
E100.
shoe would it be, by the way?
I don't even know. Probably the one you wear.
Looking I don't even know what that means.
A very big one. 2 E100s, an IS-4, a 50B, a 4005, a Batchat, and a CDC. Now, the only reason you'd really bring a CDC is for a moving bunker, which is essentially what Germ's doing now. He's applying cap pressure.
We've seen that take before.
Yeah, a couple of times.
League. Yeah, a couple times.
Now, the funniest story I've heard about that CDC...
As with the OHO, I mean, it's the same type of idea.
Yeah, the funniest story about that CDC that I've heard is teams started bringing it as a mobile bunker, especially in Ruinberg, move it as something that you could put a tank hull down on. The problem was when they first tried it, when it was making the initial push on the cap and it was driving through the other guns, you know, they don't care if it takes damage as long as it gets to where it needs to be.
Exactly. The point of it is for it to die eventually.
Well, so what one team ended up doing is if you can't be ammo racked if you don't have ammo in your tank, so they just unloaded all the shells out of the tank and they just drove it there.
That's interesting.
But that's not actually the end of the story. Because,
there's more.
Because of what happened,
You're like Billy Mays.
Yeah, you can say that. What happened next, though, is the funniest part, is the game they couldn't actually cap out, and no one killed the CDC. So when there's a couple tanks left alive on both teams, they have the CDC alive that doesn't have any shells, so he couldn't actually contribute anything or kill anything for his team.
That's unfortunate.
So then they ended up bringing like 5 or 6 shells the next game.
All right. So with 45 seconds, you know what? I think this would be a perfect time to get in on the listen-in with Apex.
I think it could
It's
even
an
be
angle.
on this
He's like somewhere over here.
Yeah. They have a 50B with him. They could have 2.
I'm gonna die, but
30 seconds. FD got the shot, and he set me on fire.
Oh my
the
god.
FD is down here.
I need Nitz to come back down. Nitz come back down.
Yeah.
There's no point staying.
Yeah, Nitz come back
Well-
down with the FD.
They have like 1, 2. They have 3, 4 tanks south. Why don't we just push north and kill those two E3s?
You can't be in a good position.
I don't think we're in a good spot to do it. The only thing I can think of is to put these E100s back down and come courtyard right now, and then have you two go this way.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. Do that now. E100s go down. I'm gonna get back on cap just for a second.
Germ, can you go B7 since
I'm
they're
gonna
off
stay
now?
outside.
Just
Dodo,
wait
so
a
you
sec.
have full
Germ,
airs
rotate
on.
around and go B7. Go north, Germ. Rotate around. Come down here and cross.
E3 HE's.
Yeah, he's fine. Basically, just push the E100s this way. We need these two guys
In the
basically
courtyard?
keeping a tank. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you want to
need
ask
to
for?
crush this.
The IS-4
What do you want to ask for doing?
The IS-4 should jump over the ramp. And
I'm gonna
into
go
the
this way
courtyard
next.
as well.
Alright, I'm going in the
Where's he
courtyard.
at? Where's he at?
I'm
Do you
going
know?
in the courtyard now.
Yep.
Yeah, go courtyard now. Because I'm
These
just
guys-
trying to bait this as long as I can. And then I need to get off and run.
Yeah. These guys are gonna have to wait for the E100s.
Yep.
Just be
Alright, so
careful
we're
of the crossing.
Give me,
Right now
give me
we're
a
baiting
coordinate, Germ. Where is he at?
He has to be here. He's
He might
not
be
firing.
inside.
He's not
In
firing.
the wind,
He
in the
could be
road.
in that
Photo,
courtyard
peek
then.
it first. Photo, peek it first. Use your turret.
He's
There's
not firing.
There's a
There
berm
he is.
there.
There he is.
Alright,
Good.
Germ,
All right,
we
we
can
can
get
reset
Germ
back to the
on.
north. Reset back to the north then, if we need to, right?
We don't have time. Actually, let's just hold the 5 line. Hold the 5 line.
Yeah.
They're coming north now.
They're
to get
coming
these guys.
already.
Germ, get off.
Good punish. Good punish.
You guys
They're
are
all there.
blocking my shots.
That's fine. These guys go here.
The
These
50B
guys
over
go
there.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just running.
50B is out.
50B is a pick. 50B is a
Go
pick.
kill him.
T3 is a
Pick him.
pick.
Guys, just hold these positions. Kill this guy.
Yeah, I'm going over to the 1-2
Yeah,
line
someone
right
needs
now.
to kill that 50B.
Got him.
Good.
Reloading.
Okay, good shit. There's
They're
3
gonna
minutes.
try and take a kill. They're gonna try and take the hill. We can actually
they
go
are.
to this hill right now.
Go
I'm gonna go
fine.
back on the hill.
You can go one line. One line, right?
I'm going to
Oh
the
yeah, we
Dodo,
can take the
go
1-2
here.
line. We can take the 1-2 line. The outer
Yeah,
position.
we
Take
take the
CDC
1-2
with
line.
me on 1 cap.
Yeah,
4005, rotate over right now. You
Alright.
I need you to rotate
Yeah.
over.
And we can even get
block
the
5-6 line
IS-4
from the
on the cap,
50Bs. Block
I have
5-6
to take the
line from the
conservative
50Bs.
route. I have to take the conservative
Nitz.
route.
Take the fast route. Fast
We
route.
have to
fast
go
route.
to
the
the
building.
bats on the hill already.
Comms. Impact, what?
Go behind
How
the
much
building.
health does this
Nitz.
E3 have? How much
Yeah, go
health?
behind the building, Nitz, because I'm going to go where you're
Yeah,
at.
go across to the building.
Aggressor's lighting.
Use the far angle. Yep. That's what you need to do.
Can someone aim at aggressor?
Get
I
on
just
cap, get on
shot.
cap, get on cap, get on
Yeah,
cap.
I'm coming.
Photo, just keep watching the cross. You don't have to get greedy. Don't do it, Photo.
Photo, don't even poke. Don't even poke.
Just watch
I'm
the
on the
Someone
wrong
watch
side.
the hill. Watch the hill.
Dodo, just, you can get
2
on
minutes
cap
55.
2. Dodo, get on cap 2.
I might have to cross though.
That's fine. That's
There's
fine.
E3.
That's fine, Dodo. That's it. Just cross. Just cross.
All right.
They're pushing us. They're pushing us. Get on cap.
Bats -1 on the
Red
hill.
7.
Bats -2.
He was in the gap, I think.
Can we get help?
Don't get reset.
Photo, I
Go in
can't.
front of Germ. Go in front of Germ.
Photo,
Good.
Photo, let me get
Good.
in front. Photo, let me
Great.
get in front
E3
now.
firing.
He
We're-
can't. He
we're
will
good.
not reload in time. He will not reload in
Shit.
time.
Fuck yes.
Oh my god. Alright, E3 fired.
Stay
E3
there.
Careful of the
fired.
back. Careful of the back.
We won, we
Good
won,
job.
we
Good.
won.
We're
No
good.
more kills. No more kills.
Good job. Good job. Good job.
Oi.
Holy sh-
I like how we heard that last little yeah from the So overall, Apex is literally just doing exactly what they want to do. They're taking control of these games, and they are slowly. Actually, I wouldn't even say slowly. They're very quickly turning the screws here on Deja Vu, which means that they could potentially be going down in the next 2 games. And just to point out, it's going to be now Himmelsdorf defense for Apex.
Yep.
You could almost say this is 6-0 already.
Potentially could be. They're 10-1 on defense right now going into this. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. Now, I do have to like the 3004 or 304 idea there out of Chase Potato. He got down into the south. He had the reset angle from the south straight up the 7 line and was able to reset Germ. And as you heard Germ call out, set him on fire and burned him down, unfortunately. Now, he did good. Chase did good to leave, but when he needed another reset, he drove back in, and at that point, they were waiting for him, and Dodoma in the 4005 was just sitting there ready for him, and there goes that.
I think it's the second time today we've seen an E100 at the top of the damage.
Yeah, well, 3700, when you have a big gun that E100 does, it's just able to pump out a lot of damage if you give it time. It doesn't have the greatest DPM, but 750 alpha a shot. just keep, you know, firing and firing. If it's allowed to stay in the fight for a long time, it definitely can rack up the damage. Durgil doing what he could. He had the side shots on those E100s early on in that 50B, did what he could, but then he got isolated and focused out. And still managed to be top damage on his team. And then looking at everyone else, Nationwide, not really able to get into the fight in his E3. Only did one real shot of damage over 6 shots fired.
There is External himself, 007.
Yep, just doing what he could damage-wise, but
which was a lot.
Yeah, but just like all season, though, every match so far, we're just seeing different players for Apex just stepping up. No one's really standing out. No one's doing some insane amount of damage every game. It's just, you know, one person has a decent game, one person will have a standout game. But overall, it's just, you know, a fairly flat, well, not flat, but just everyone doing consistent work. You know, if one person drops off, there's the other 6 are all ready to step in.
Absolutely, and they do. They do every time. If that happens, then that's why I feel like I'm growing hair on my tongue from saying this so much, but that's why Apex is the best currently.
Yeah, absolutely. And now looking at it, we're going into battle number 6. It's 5-0. Two rounds away from being a 7-0 victory for Apex. And Apex don't seem to really be bringing out anything too crazy. Now, it looks like Deja Vu are going to take a page out of Eclipse's playbook here, and we'll get to that in just a second. Looking at the lineups right now, Apex coming in with a 215B, 350Bs, a Bad Chat, an IS-7, and an AMX 1390. Deja Vu coming in with 450Bs, a TVP, a Bat Chat, and a 1390. Not a lineup I would associate with Himmelsdorf in the least, and they are just going to push straight up the 8 line, it looks like, and look for some sort of engagement. At this point, they're 5-0 down. They may start tilting a little bit. They have to not let that creep in. But sometimes, you know, just saying to hell with it, let's just try something and go for it, and maybe it'll pay off. And they're just going to drive to the north, try to get some cap pressure. They're leaving a couple of the 50Bs down in the south, maybe as a bait, but we'll have to see if Apex drive into it without spotting them. Very quickly, Apex pushing down the south. They cleared the south. They're leaving Canadian Impact there to be their eyes. And they're pulling everyone else back up the 2-3 line and resetting in the very standard defense. Germ just hanging out along that Delta line, trying to be the eyes for his team. We'll have to see if he's able to stay alive. Now, the problem is with this ramp right here. There isn't one angle where he's guaranteed safe from everything. If they have guns up on the hill, they can normally sneak shots in on his side. And if he's safe from the hill, then someone in the south could get shots on him if they push down over there, which Apex are not contesting it, so it would just be a matter of someone driving over there and finding the shots. Nationwide just sitting here, just waiting for Germ to make that mistake, maybe try to leave this ramp or back out too far. As we say that, they light each other, but no shots are exchanged. A couple of the 50Bs, all 3 of the 50Bs for Apex have grouped up near this cap. Photo Finish has actually not left his window yet, though. The cap pressure building for Deja Vu. 70 seconds on the cap. Aggressor in that TVP still up on the hill. And Canadian Impact's rotating through the south right now. Now he's choosing not to rotate all the way down the south. He's looking for eyes down the G line. He does spot Magtap Putin, but I don't think he realizes that there's 2 more 50Bs back there behind him. So if he's not careful and he rotates too far out on his own, overextends, he might get caught out, and that'd be a free tank down for Deja Vu.
Yeah, had some damage coming onto Akula now, as well as traded to My Little Putin. Again, this setup from Apex is so solid. I mean, you just alluded to this defense not being unbreakable, obviously, but difficult to get through.
Yeah, absolutely. And these 50Bs, they push forward. They make sure those tanks get off the cap, and now they're just pulling back. They're not going to chase the tanks around. They don't know what else is there. They don't want to overextend. Tadoma is actually going to drop his clip after firing only 1 shell, then back off and reset while they know there's not an engagement going on. Canadian Impact had actually left the south entirely. Magtap Putin has pushed and cleared it, and he actually does spot both Canadian Impact and Germ over towards that 1 cap, and now Apex are kind of caught mid-rotation, and this could turn ugly if they're not careful. Deja Vu is actually trying to take control of the courtyard. They have these 2 50Bs along the south end of the D-line right now. However, the problem is the majority of the tanks for Apex are over on the 2-3 line, and they very easily could get shots across here and into those 50Bs and isolate them. There wouldn't be a whole lot that Deja Vu could do to stop them.
Now rolling in, coming across the D, E, and F lines is Apex, potentially trying to get a flank going here. Dodoma and Nitz, they are going to get spotted now. Shots onto Nationwide, and Deja and huge damage on Nationwide, as he is going to be cleaned up by the Jamaican sniper in the 215B. Photo finish. Nitz, meanwhile, cleaning up Dergil. And the noose is just getting ever so tighter here, James.
Yep, what I just preluded to, those 50Bs were in a situation where they didn't really have any support from their team. Well,
wait
like
a second, though. There's only one tank here to stop this cap. And it's just photo finish. External is coming in late, and now 18 seconds, 12 seconds, 10 seconds. This could be a chance here for Deja Vu.
External's coming in behind. He should be able to find the reset, but it's going to be close.
And there it is.
They get the reset, and now they back off. Now, still have 28 seconds on the cap. Aggressor has majority of the cap points. It's not over yet. However, you have to favor Apex. They should group up their guns and push
That was almost very close.
They almost snuck away with that win.
Yeah.
Nitz going for the ram to clean up Chase Potato. They focus out Aggressor, and that's going to make it 6-0 in favor of Apex.
There's a lot of energy coming out of these teams right now.
Yep, doesn't sound like a... Well, it's kind of hard to tell when you're listening over to Deja Vu. Part of them sound like they're happy, they're kind of joking around. The other part of them sounds like they're legitimately mad.
Yeah.
It's pretty entertaining.
It's tough.
However, the next map is going to be Ghost Town, which is a map that Apex really haven't played a whole lot of this season. They've played it a couple times. But Deja Vu, actually, this is a map where they've played a good bit, and they actually keep a 13-9 record on Ghost Town. So this is a map where you'd have to feel they should be able to pick up some points.
Anything could happen here, yeah.
Yep. Now, the thing is you have to wonder how much has Apex been keeping in reserve, because they haven't played it a whole lot. The chances are they have some strats that they haven't shown anyone. They've just not necessarily been avoiding it, but if it does get picked, they just run the same strats that they have because they know they work. This might be a time where we see them break out something different.
I really don't know what Deja Vu needs to do here in order. Again, they're all smiles, and like you said earlier, it's good to not, just kind of get bummed out and be positive. But there's, in my opinion, there's too much positivity right now in Deja Vu. There really is. Too much laughing, too much joking. You made it here for a reason, and I feel like they should really take this opportunity to shine. And unfortunately for them, sure, it's against Apex, but even still, I think you understand where I'm going.
Yeah, definitely. But, look at the damage here. Look at Nitz, External, Akula all putting up pretty good, consistent damage. Once again, that's what I was talking about. No insane outlier, but just everyone doing their part. Nitz 2,900, External 2,800, and it just keeps going. And then even on the bottom page, the only person that really wasn't able to get into that fight was German, that 1390, who had to try to push across the courtyard just to be another gun to go at the resets, and he got caught out by the tank still sitting in the south of Deja Vu. Didn't really matter in the long run, but if a tank is going to go down for free, your Turret Light is typically a good one to lose. Not that it's ever good to lose any of your tanks, but if it has to happen, it's not a bad tank to just sacrifice when you need to. And it will be, it looks like, Deja Vu defending on Ghost Town. So they, you have to like their chances to pick up at least one round right now. However, it's 6-0. It's match point for Apex. Deja Vu would need 7 rounds in a row to turn this around.
I don't want to say that it's impossible. I really don't. But it's almost impossible at this point, especially against the team they're playing. And I mean, that's the thing. It's the team they're playing that really makes it seem like such a tall task.
No, exactly. Apex are just so good. They're always work together. You hear the communication within the team. And they've just been doing such a great job all season. And right now, they're doing just everything, as Comp says, just business as usual. They're not doing anything mind-blowing. They're not doing anything.
No, they're taking the team as serious as if they were the biggest threat to them, like they do every team they play, and which is why Apex has been able to stay on top. So
yeah, and they're just to a certain extent, they're not even breaking out any crazy strats. They're just doing what they know will work and that they're comfortable with, and it's working for them so far.
All right, well, let's go to potentially the final map here between Apex and Deja Vu.
Ghost Town. The first absolutely symmetrical map made especially for 7 versus 7 games. The teams start the battle on opposite sides. There are numerous ways to attack here. One of the bases is located in the central square, the other one at the top of the city. The hardest battles are usually fought for the top base, and this calls for the use of heavy tanks. Sometimes the teams choose fast tanks for spotting and base capturing.
All right, so coming out of Deja Vu is going to be 350Bs, a T57, a 113, an MX-30 PT. I don't think we've seen that tank, have we?
We have the 30 prototypes, the Tier 9 French. On the other line, there are 2 French medium lines. One's to the Batchat.
Okay, T54 E1 as well out of Aggressor. All right.
Yep, so we've seen the AMX-30 used a lot, especially towards the boost up in A1.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah.
Yep, we've seen it used up there. There are 2 French medium lines. One goes to the Batchat. So we have the Tier 9 Bat and then the Tier 10 Batchat, obviously. This one goes splits off from the 1390 into this AMX-30 prototype, and then you have the AMX-30B, the other French medium. Consistent fire, a lot like the Leopard 1.
And that's we see that a lot on, I believe, in Steps.
We see the 30B on Steps. We've been seeing it more, especially Bales likes to play it up in the boost on defense.
And My Little Putin is pretty much dead here, as we're just talking about the tank lineups.
Yeah,
and a duel is happening. Oh my goodness.
And it looks like they've caught out MacTap, got him tracked, and they're just putting shots into him. He should go down here, and taking so much damage.
Yeah, he should be going down. Oh, there he goes to Germ, and you know what? As we potentially see Apex clinching their way to the finals, let's take a listening with them.
Let's go.
Harmless is down 1.
My Little Putin's at 1.
I'm going in.
I'm going, yeah. Just be careful of Aggressor.
That's fine.
Get
That's fine.
Clipping.
I need to clipping.
I'll take the first hit.
Are My Little Putin endures, all right?
Aggressor's out like 1 or 2.
30 seconds.
I can take the hits. I can take the hits.
Where's the 50B?
He's gonna be here. There's the 30. There's the 30.
Red 5.
50B, 50B, 50B.
Mid status?
I got
2,
20
down
seconds.
2.
Good job.
Just let me,
guys.
just let me eat the clip. Or he's reloading.
Oh, I tried to hold it.
Good job.
Just finish Harmless. I potato.
I'm out.
I got 8 seconds.
Someone kill him.
All right.
Good job, guys.
Is that it?
To the Rumble.
Yep.
League.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, 7-0. Apex versus Deja Vu. I'll be completely honest. I expected Apex to win, but not in this fashion.
If you're anyone on Eclipse right now, you know, you're going to have your eye on Apex.
I mean, you obviously already did, but I mean, especially the way that they're playing right now is so solid. And Hits is going to end it with none other than a Ram. So there you have it. Just so damn dominating.
Oh, they did their thing throughout. You know, I wish there was some sort of mind-blowing breakdown of everything that Apex did this game, but they just did what they've been doing all season. They used a lot of the same strats. They just played very simple. They let the other teams make their plays, and they just reacted to it. And that's what Apex have done so well all season is, all right, we're going to do our thing. We're going to keep our guns together. You do what you want. And once we know what you're doing, we're just going to react to it. And most of the time, it's worked out for them this season. And once again, you know, all right, you guys go ahead and set up. We're just going to be ready for it every single round. They brought the little 3004 or 304 on the one game. All right, well, he's in the south. And then they said, Dodo to go kill him. He picks him up. And they said, all right, let's go back to our thing. We know that the resets are gone. Now let's just force it out again. And they managed to pick up another win. So just overall, it's just been very, very dominant out of Apex. And that's going to guarantee them a spot to the Challengers Rumble in New York, as well as a chance to keep playing for the $90,000 first place prize later tonight.
Yeah, and they are going to be going up against none other than Eclipse. And as you said, Eclipse probably definitely have their eyes on this team. And it's going to be, I feel like the finals are going to be an absolute brawl between these two teams.
Yeah, no, it'll be a fun series. I hope it's a really just back and forth series between those two because it has the potential to be a fantastic series. But the one that I'm more interested in at this point is 07 versus Deja Vu.
07 versus Deja Vu down for third and fourth. Now, again, what they are competing for is obviously more money if they get third place, but also the chance to be the alternate team to sub in just in case whether Apex or Eclipse are unable to go to the Rumble the next 3 weeks, in the next 3 weeks.
And then also just points in the long-term standings towards the next Global Grand Finals. So there's still a good bit on the line in the third, fourth place match, which is going to be up next. And that will be, once again, Deja Vu versus 07. 07 looked a lot more promising earlier against Eclipse. They really made them work for that win. If they can play that well, and if Deja Vu cannot get off the tilt that they are clearly on right now, then that could also be a 7-0 potentially.
I really hope not for their sake. And then just look at this. Akula coming in just consistently. We talked about consistency between Apex. The outlier for the last game in Eclipse was, I think, 20. It was Ox doing 27,000 damage. The highest here is 17, and that's because the rest of the team of Apex has just been so consistent.
And they're so coordinated. They work together so well. And it's just everyone, nice together, always able to just rotate in. One person comes in, drop his clip, they back off. Next one's ready to put out a lot more shots. And then just look at Deja Vu, just not really able to get into the fight consistently with any one of their players.
Yeah, so it's, I still can't believe we just saw a 7-0. And you know what, to kind of discuss through it and talk about it, it is going to be Tommy with Comps on stage.
And I think I can say already that it's a pretty proud Comps that's here, proud of his team. But first of all, how frustrating was this experience for you? Normally you can listen into TeamSpeak when you're sitting at home. Right now you had no idea what's going on except for watching the stream.
Well, I mean, it's the rules of the tournament, right? So there's nothing I can do about that. So I was backstage watching the stream and just seeing what you guys were seeing at home.
But let's talk about how proud you are of your team, because this was quite a performance.
I'm really proud. I mean, 7-0 was something that, we didn't really expect coming in. But the results are there, and I'm really proud of the guys for doing so.
And how much confidence does this give your team that it's actually a 7-0 in the semifinals here?
I mean, it's a huge confidence boost. Going in there, 7-0ing a team. Now all we have to do is prep for Eclipse and play that match in the finals.
And for us as fans and viewers, this is the ultimate final matchup. Were you hoping all the way to go against Eclipse and prove that you're the best team?
Well, yeah, I mean, this entire season has been a two-horse race, right? So now it's basically who crosses the finish line first.
All right, let's just watch one of the final moments, one of the deciding moments of this beautiful performance from Apex.
That's fine, that's fine.
Clipping,
I need to clip. Clipping.
I'll take the first hit.
Or my little Buddha endures, all right?
Aggressor's out like 1 or 2.
30 seconds.
I can take the hits, Where's the 50B?
He's going to be here. There's the 30. There's the 30.
Red 5.
50B, 50B, 50B.
Net status.
I got 20 seconds. Good job.
Just let me eat the clip. Or he's reloading.
Oh, I tried to hold it.
Good job.
Just finish harmless.
And now I'm here with Wally from Deja Vu. When you just lost 7-0 in the semifinal, I guess you didn't really expect that it would be 7-0.
No, we weren't hoping for a 7-0. Definitely not exactly what we were looking for. No, obviously not.
How do you pick your team up after this? Because they're still the next match, third, fourth place.
Yeah, so a lot of other esports casters say that it's almost better to just get wrecked in a map or something like that, to where you just completely forget about it and you go into the next match. It's a lot better to just lose outright than to be down 6 and then come back and then lose, because then your mind's completely wrecked. So I'm pretty happy with these guys. I know we're gonna come back. They're all ready. They said they're solid, so they're ready to kick some ass.
So no substitutions or anything for the next match?
No, I don't think so. We're not gonna do that.
And can you just tell us how important is it to get that third place in the next match? I know that's 10 grand, but I guess pride too.
Yeah, I mean, we want to definitely cement ourselves as the third best team in NA. And plus, like they said, if one of the teams for some reason can't go to New York, we get that spot. So sure sounds nice to me.
Well, it was pretty convincing from Apex. I don't know why Apex are so good. You need to stay here after the break. Meadowhawk has some pointers about what makes Apex so good. So stick around. We'll be right back.